Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivanadari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jayam Vishnupad Brahmahansa Prabhakacharya Asadhara Sadushi Shiman. His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Haribo, Slava Zabrani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Guru Shri Gurangi. Om Agyanat Vinandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Hayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shiva Sakans Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate, Gopesha Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta Namostute, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishubhanu Siddhadevi, Pranamami Hari Priye, Vanchakalpa Triviyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patidanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Krishna is the source of all incarnations, Text 25. Ataso yuga sandhyayam dasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpati attasau yuga sandhyayam dasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpati. Dasyu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashasho namna kalkir jagatpati. Ataso yuga sandhyayam dasu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpati. Taso yuga sandhyayam dasu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpati. Ataso yuga sandhyayam dasu prayeshu rajasu janita vishnu yashaso namna kalkir jagatpati. Ata, thereafter, asau, the same Lord, yuga sandhyayam, at the conjunction of the yugas, dasyu, plunderers, prayeshu, almost all, rajasu, the governing personalities, janita, will take his birth, Vishnu, named Vishnu, Yashasha, surname Yasha, Namna, in this name, Kalki, the incarnation of the Lord. Jagatpati, the Lord of creation. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. Please repeat. Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of creation will take his birth as the Kalki incarnation and become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, the rulers of the earth, let's try that again. The rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. Purport. Here's another foretelling of the advent of Kalki, Lord Kalki, the incarnation of Godhead. He is to appear at the conjunction of the two yugas, namely the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satya Yuga. The cycle of the four yugas, namely Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, rotates like the calendar months. The present Kali Yuga lasts 432,000 years, out of which we have passed only 5,000 years. After the battle of Kurukshetra and at the end of the reign of Maharaj King Parikshit. So there are 427,000 years balance yet to be finished. Therefore, at the end of this period, the incarnation of Kalki will take place as foretold in the Srimad Bhagavatam. The name of his father, Vishnu Yasha, a learned Brahmin, and the village Shambhala are also mentioned. As above mentioned, all these foretellings will prove to be factual in chronicle order. That is the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam. Translation again. Thereafter, at the conjunction of two yugas, the Lord of the creation will take his birth as Kalki, incarnation, become the son of Vishnu Yasha. At this time, the rulers of the earth will have degenerated into plunderers. Seems like we're almost at the end of Kali Yuga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthayabhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatunde Ve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskyadyade Sadarane. In one sense, this seems like good news for us, because at the end of Kali Yuga, I don't know what percentage will be, but there'll be a lot of little people running around eating each other. Because according to the 12th canto, there'll be no more fruits and vegetables. There'll be fruits like mangoes, but if you get a mango, then there'll only be the skin and the pit. There won't be anything else. There won't be any more rice or grains. The only thing left to eat is each other. So people who have children just eat them. They don't eat each other in the meantime. And there are some devotees left, because the devotees who are left, they begin the next Satya Yuga, which means they didn't fully take advantage of the holy name, but they took advantage of the holy name enough so they didn't become little pygmies and running around eating people. Which means that since it's only 427,000 years left before the end of Kali Yuga, then it's good to start chanting Hare Krishna sincerely. Because it may seem that 427,000 years is a long time, but it's not a very long time actually. consider, since the time of our birth, how quickly time has gone. And say it was 100 years, so that's 100 years goes by in a flash. So 427,000 years will also go by in a flash. And we have to make a choice. Of course, in the next 10,000 years, the holy name will spread, and those who take advantage of it, most of them will go back to Godhead during that time. There may be some who've taken advantage of the holy name, but they didn't take it so seriously. They come for all the prasadam and the feasts, but they don't always chant their name so attentively. So they'll be surviving kind of in that mood for chanting Hare Krishna, some of them who are left, until the end of Kali Yuga, when little people are going to be running after them to eat them. So some people will take advantage of the holy name, go back to Godhead during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's 10,000 years of the Golden Age, and others will kind of like hang on. They'll come to the feast, they'll chant their rounds, they may even have a little program, but they're comfortable in material existence. They're not so anxious to go back to Godhead. But gradually during that 427,000 years, as things get worse, then people will get more serious. The devotees will get more serious, and more devotees will go back to Godhead, because they can see the Sunday feast is not exactly what it used to be. There's a feast, but it's not so, the ingredients are getting less every year. So I think it's time to go back to Godhead, get some good prasadam there. And so one will become more and more serious as time goes on. Towards the end of Kali Yuga, when you can hardly get any prasadam, practically all the devotees are going to be back to Godhead, except for a few diehards who decided they're going to see what Satya Yuga is like. And amongst those, Kalki will appear in the village of Shambhala, and his father, Vishnu Yasha, will give his mother will give birth to Kalki, and Kalki will finish off all these little pygmies. He'll go around the earth and kill everyone, all the little pygmies. And then there'll be a purification time for the earth, and those who are still chanting Hare Krishna, those who are left, they're going to really get serious about chanting Hare Krishna. When they see that all these little dead pygmies on the ground, they say, Hare Krishna. They'll wonder why they didn't go back to Godhead. Anyhow, they'll be born into Satya Yuga, and they'll have the ability to concentrate their minds upon Krishna, and they'll take Krishna consciousness really seriously, because they don't want to come back for another Kali Yuga. And probably most of them will all go back to the spiritual world. Therefore, to take birth in Kali Yuga, in one sense, is quite auspicious. If one has any tendency towards piety or any real tendency towards spiritual life, one is serious about spiritual life, because within the next 427,000 years, we're likely to go back to the spiritual world, as long as we don't desire to go to the heavenly planets. The problem would be if we desire to go to the heavenly planets, go to the Nanda Kandana forest and dance with the apsaras there and live for, say you go to Indraloka, where he lives for 70 Manvantara, 4,300,000 times 1,000, actually it's at least 4 million. There's 72, that's right. So 4,300,000 times 72. So it's quite a gamble if you go to Indra Loka, because you don't know where you're going to wind up when you take birth again. You're most likely to miss Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. So the worst thing is to become a devotee and think that I'm going to get some material benefit from it, like going to the heavenly planets. Better to become a pure devotee and maybe take a stop before you go back to the spiritual world. Take a stop in the heavenly planets, say hello to Indra, and then say goodbye. But to go to the heavenly planets, any of them, because the duration of life in the heavenly planets is far greater than 427,000 years. And therefore one will miss the golden opportunity. So as long as we take seriously the chanting of the holy names and the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and wanting to take birth as Pariksha Maharaj wanted. Pariksha Maharaj was praying at the time we were sitting on the Ganges. He was praying that to the sages, please, at least if I have to take birth again, let me take birth in the family of devotees, where I can continue on with my devotional service. So that should be at least our prayer. Let me stay here in the material world if I have to, but at least let me take birth amongst devotees, serious devotees, who are interested in developing their Krishna consciousness in Kali Yuga. Otherwise, Krishna says, Prapya punya kritam lokam, Ushitva shasviti samak, suchinam shrimatam gehe, yoga brashta vijayate. By whatever service we've done, if we're not fixed in trying to go back to the spiritual world, if we're not trying to develop that desire, then we may take birth in the heavenly planets. And then after that, we take birth somewhere in Suchinam or Srimatam. Suchinam means the Brahmin family. Srimatam means the Vaishya community. So we'll get an auspicious birth, materially speaking, but as we can see, to remain serious is quite difficult in Krishna consciousness unless we develop that seriousness, that taste, actually. Seriousness doesn't mean that we become morose and serious. And it means we have to develop a taste for the holy name. Taste for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Taste for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement means to dovetail our desires with that of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Namely, he wants the souls to go back to the spiritual world to revive their relationship with Krishna. Just chanting Hare Krishna, as in every other yuga, because Kali Yuga is, as it says here, it's like the seasonal changes. It's coming and going all the time. And in the other Kali Yugas, Krishna appears in a blackish form, and he also chants Hare Krishna. And everyone else is chanting Hare Krishna. I mean, not everyone, but so many devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, but for material benefit. Now we may think, well, I don't want material benefit, but there's so much material benefit that can allure us. The heavenly planets is people are actually, it's very, very difficult to take Krishna consciousness seriously in the heavenly planets because the duration of life compared to ours is quite large. And everything there is enjoyable. There's only a couple of Ayurvedic doctors there, and they're handing out somarasa to make everyone even healthier than they already are. The food is fantastic, the air is pure, the water is great, the service is very easy, everyone there has unlimited talent to do their service, and they love doing it, they love doing whatever they're doing. There's no problems there, except once in a while, as recorded in Srimad Bhagavatam, sometimes Indra makes a mistake and he has to live for a few million years in a lotus flower or something. But that's not so often. That's just to remind us that even in the heavenly planets you can get into trouble. So if we're not cautious and we wind up somewhere in a birth where we get good material opportunities, even spiritual activities, because then Krishna says, Ataiva bohinam, Ataiva eva dimatam, kule bhavati dimatam, etadi durla bhataram loke janman idrisham. Taiva yoginam eva kule bhavati dimatam, etadi durla bhataram loke janman idrisham. Or he takes birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Verily such a birth is rare in this world. But even we can see taking birth in a family of transcendentalists is actually quite rare. We find that because we're just beginning the movement and we're trying to aspire to become transcendentalists, therefore even what we consider to be devotees, and they have children, we see that many of the children wind up to be materialists, with a little speckle of Krishna consciousness added to it. Falsely they believe, because they took birth in something that they consider a devotee family, where the devotees come to Janmashtami and maybe some other Govardhan Puj. Sometimes they chant Hare Krišna. They think that this is a family of transcendentalists. But actually it's a family of pious people. And these devotees were pious, and they took birth in such a pious family, because that's what piety in this age is, chanting Hare Krišna. But neither their father nor their mother was actually interested in going back to Godhead. They're interested in having a nice prasadam and hopefully develop some nice relationships with each other. Maybe they have to get a little psychological counseling from a professional, marriage counseling. But anyhow, a little bit of piety is there. Due to the fact that they took seriously some little aspect, sometime the Hare Krishna movement, they dedicated some of their energies. But their idea was, let me get a nice material existence eventually. Get out of my suffering, my drug addiction, my addiction to so many other nasty things. And let me become absorbed in Krishna consciousness, dedicate my energy. But ultimately, when their suffering goes away, when they get material opportunities, they've learned how to distribute paintings or something, or they learn how to deal with people to sell them something. So now they can sell them something else, vacuum cleaners or whatever else, and make a living. Therefore they set up for a nice material life, and they follow three regular principles. They make a vow, I'm always going to follow these three regular principles. No meat, no fish, no eggs. Maintain my principles. And devotees who take birth in such a family, they come in contact with Krishna consciousness, but they think, well, let me follow what my parents are. Don't take it too seriously. Try to enjoy the material world. Don't rock the boat. Don't try to become a fanatic. Here, the lady devotees are nice. They're a little submissive. Let me have a nice family life like my parents. And therefore they miss the opportunity too. And they participate a little bit in Krishna consciousness, enough to go to the heavenly planets. And they come back somewhere. But they may miss the opportunity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Therefore, we should not become too enamored by other examples. We should try to understand the seriousness of taking Krishna consciousness seriously now, So although we may not go back to Godhead, and it's very unlikely to go back to Godhead unless we were very advanced at the beginning of our lifetime, unless one takes the process very, very seriously. But at least we should take an effort, as Prabhupada said in one lecture, to go to at least to 10% in this lifetime. And if we go to 10%, our life will improve more than anything else we can do. And what will our life will improve? Will we get a nice house, a nice husband or wife? Will we get health and wealth, whatever? We'll get higher consciousness. And as a higher consciousness, we'll become free to some extent of fear, especially the fear of what's going to happen after I leave this body. We'll become free from the fear of watching ourselves doing nonsense things and worrying about what kind of reaction I'm going to get for it. We'll actually come to the platform of patience, realizing that if I just make some progress, just try to focus my mind and try to put my priorities right in this lifetime, how valuable this life will be for me. Then if we come back, then if we have that impulse, if we have that direction, that determination, it'll carry on life after life until we reach perfection. Other than that, as Kali Yuga goes on, all those who somehow or another had a little bit of good fortune of taking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement a little seriously, follow the principles the best they could, chanting Hare Krišna, then they'll get more and more impetus, not only because of the enthusiasm of those who take Krishna consciousness at that time, the good association, but also the experience of what Kali Yuga is going on at the same time. Because Kali Yuga is not going to stop, even in the Golden Age. Just like if it's raining outside, you can't stop the rain, but you can take an umbrella. You won't get wet. So the Hare Krishna movement is like the umbrella, and we take shelter of it, not only superficially, but also take it seriously. To hang on to the lotus feet of the Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, means we have to take his instructions seriously. Now all the other authorities within our life, if they don't really emphasize what Prabhupada emphasized, still we have to take shelter of Prabhupada and emphasize it. Such as Srinvatam Swagata Krishna Punya Shravanam Kirtana. Out of all those devotees who, how many who are, say, in our society of ISKCON, how many devotees every day are hearing and chanting about Krishna regularly, have a regular sadhana? But that's what it says in the Bhagavatam from the very beginning. That's what Prabhupada emphasized. Now, he didn't talk so much about the householders living on the outside, because there were no householders living on the outside. Everyone was in the inside, even the householders. They came to the program every day. Everyone came to the program. There's no question of not coming to the program. If you didn't go to the program in some temples, then you would have to stand up before the devotees. If you missed Mangalarti, you have to stand up before the devotees and apologize at prasadam time. Now the only thing that some devotees come who live in the temple is to prasadam. They never miss that unless they're almost on their deathbed and then they have it delivered to them. No, we have to emphasize what Prabhupada took, what Krishna takes seriously, what Rupa Goswami took seriously. And we have to apply that within our lives. So we were actually protected from Kali Yuga. It's a complete package. It's a 24-hour day package. Otherwise, we think it's just a temporary package. It's a kind of like we have our time for devotional service, we have our time for Maya, and devotional service gives a better taste for Maya, and Maya impels us a little bit to take seriously devotionals, whatever. It doesn't work like that. It's a 24-hour-a-day occupation, or else we're going to get risking carried away by the illusory energy. Because as Kali Yuga goes on, Maya will become more or less, oh, you want a little Maya? Well, here's a lot of Maya. You want a little bit of intoxication? Well, here, just walk on the street, wave $5 and someone will run up to you and give you some intoxication. We'll make it easier. You want illicit sex? Well, just wink at someone and they'll be ready for you. Maya will make it, the Kali Yuga will make it more and more easy to get sense gratification. And unless one takes seriously Krishna consciousness, if there's even a little desire for sense gratification, what to speak of a big desire, then one may fall victim to Maya and get swept away and run the risk of missing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. Therefore, those who are a little serious, they should become a little bit more serious and understand completely the picture so that we don't get carried away by this trend of the Hare Krishna movement. You live in the temple for some years, you chant Hare Krishna, you get initiated, and you get married, or you live on the outside, you become a brahmastra, kind of half grihastha and half brahmachari. And then gradually as time goes on, you just blend in with everyone else who's supposedly a devotee rather than an aspiring devotee. And of course, you make sure you come to the feast on Sunday because you're serious. And every once in a while, you chant your rounds to try to pay attention because you have nothing else to do, or you're suffering so much. The only hope is to pay attention to the holy name. Other than that, you hope that feasts are nice for Janmashtami and Govardhan Puj and Gaur Purnim, and you show up because you're a good devotee and socialize and talk to the ladies about how old are your children and what they're doing in school and the ones who became a lawyer. And life goes on. But that's not the formula. So Kalki comes to remind us that it's not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has introduced the holy name as an opportunity to easily make spiritual advancement and even easily get material resources and maybe even be protected from the grossest aspect of Kali Yuga. But it's a dangerous conception because even we get what we think would be great. We go to even Brahmaloka or Janaloka or Mahavishnu or Mahaloka or Indraloka. It's very risky. And ultimately, those who went to that path, they may not be in the human form of life anymore. There's a lot of persons who took to that path in previous golden ages, and then they probably regret, if they were in the human form of life, they would have regretted that, what they did. So let's take it seriously. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, tell me, can the wife be, is it the wife material benefit or could she be some spiritual benefit?
What's that? Wife?
Wife, yes. Is she material benefit or could she be spiritual benefit?
For who?
For both husbands.
For the husband. Well, if you get if you get a wife who's a little serious about Krishna consciousness, if you try to utilize her for a material benefit, you might get slapped across the face.
Or could she then be some spiritual benefit?
Well, if you're interested in spiritual life, she'll be a spiritual benefit.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
And if she slaps you across the face and you look for another wife for material benefit, even she's spiritual, you're not going to benefit. You have to be spiritual, or else we're not going to get any benefit from anyone. Anything else?
How can we understand that there's 427,000 years of Kali Yuga, but still the society is degraded so fast that it seems like in 10,000 years you will reach this stage of end of Kali Yuga?
How can you probably can't understand. But try to understand. You know exactly what's going on, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's plan is. How can we understand? This is not even Kali Yuga yet. This is just the junction between Kali Yuga and Dwapara Yuga. It's still in the junction. But it may be some special plan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because to show that without the people taking seriously the holy name, how fast Kali Yuga enters. So this should give us some impetus to take seriously the holy name, and to give others impetus to take shelter when the Hare Krišna movement actually becomes qualified. Of course, Prabhupada also had us distribute so many books, and people think, well, all right, these books, the Hare Krišna, that's nice. But, you know, you work at your job 8 to 9, whatever, 9 to 6 or whatever they work here. Probably it's, 9 to 5 or 9 to 4. And then you go home, and you get in your car, you go to the grocery store, you go to the mall, go on the internet, you buy whatever you want, and enjoy. So people think, well, it's not so bad. We have something to eat, we have movies to watch other people who have more sense gratification than we do, and admire them, and imagine we're taking their place. So things are going on it's very difficult for people in Western society to take Krishna consciousness seriously, because they think they're enjoying. It's all their sense gratification is easily disposed. So for those in less advanced countries, they usually have no opportunity to take the Krishna consciousness. And those in the middle, those who are not in economically developed countries, who have some piety, then they take the Krishna consciousness quite quickly. And the more they suffer, the more they take shelter of Krishna. So we think, oh, they're unfortunate. But those devotees in these places, they're actually focused on Krishna. They take it seriously. Therefore, we find in places like Russia, the Ukraine, that even before the war, these devotees were taking things seriously. They were going Harinam, because, there was nothing. The opportunities for sense gratification were rather minimal. The weather was horrible, the government is terrible. To get some good food, you had to really work hard. No, it's not such an opportunity to enjoy life. So therefore they took it seriously. And now they're probably taking it even more seriously. And we ourselves, merrily, life is but a dream. I'm here forever, and there's so much pleasure, and we're going to go to never land. So who's more fortunate in the long run? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was trying to gradually, because people are living out their pious lives, the previous pious activities, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can't take that away, but he's gradually showing us Kali Yuga. So we take it more seriously. An intelligent person, he learns by hearing. Those who are not so intelligent, they have to learn by experience. So let's be intelligent enough to learn by hearing now, or else we're going to have to gradually learn by experience. No one believed that World War II would come about and there would be so much misery in Europe. So many people would be dying and suffering. They thought everything's all right because we're Europeans, we're God's chosen people, we're Americans. And then the war came, and unbelievable suffering came. So we're in the same way. I was told when the Germans sent their planes over Holland and they started the war was going on, but they didn't believe it. But when the bombs started to rain down on Amsterdam, or whatever, Utrecht or wherever it was. Then they woke up and they said, actually there's a war that's going on. So we think, it's going on in the Ukraine so far away. But it's, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so merciful, he's not going to deprive us of the opportunity to take Krishna consciousness seriously, one way or the other. Anything else? Kvala Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande Hari Bol.